We're now going to talk about bridge cameras. I think these offer the very best value for money because they have a lot of the functionality of the more expensive digital SLR cameras, but at the moment you can buy one of these second hand for less than £30. In the previous video we had a look at these pocket point and shoot cameras, and whilst they're capable of producing very good pictures, the main drawback is that everything is automatic. However, with a bridge camera you have manual controls. This bridge camera allows me to change the focus, the aperture and the shutter speed. I'll explain what those things mean, and we'll also see what effect that has on image quality. First of all, let's investigate focus. I've set up 3 puppets on the table here, and they're all at different distances from the lens. Autofocus cameras tend to look for faces, and they will try to get them in focus regardless of whether or not that's what you wanted. With this camera I can set focus control to manual, and it means I can decide if I want this puppet in focus, or indeed this one, or this one at the back. On this camera, when I adjust the focus, it gives me a little preview window. Now, if we wanted all 3 of these puppets to be in focus at the same time, we would need to increase what is known as the depth of field, and that's the amount of the picture that's in focus. As I focus the lens, the focal point travels up and down the table. So depth of field is how much of the table is in focus at any one time. A small depth of field means that only one area of the table is in focus. But if I increase the depth of field, it means we can get more of the table in focus. And if I have a very big depth of field, we might even be able to get all of the table in focus all at once. Depth of field is controlled by the aperture setting on the lens. This is a bit like the iris of the human eye. In a dark room, your iris opens to allow in more light, but this has the effect of reducing the depth of field. However, outside on a sunny day, your iris closes, and this has the effect of increasing the depth of field. Aperture on the camera is represented by a set of numbers. The lower the number, the larger the aperture. The higher the number, the smaller the aperture. So the lower the number, the narrower the depth of field, and the higher the number, the greater the depth of field will be. We're now going to set the camera up for aperture priority mode. We press menu, and we go down to AE mode, and then we select A, then press menu again, and that selects the aperture priority mode here. We are now able to manually set the aperture for the lens, and this is displayed as an F number at the bottom of the screen. Let's talk about shutter speed. Normally with puppet animation it doesn't particularly matter because we're taking still photographs. If we slow down the shutter speed, that means the camera is open for longer, letting in more light. This actually means we may need fewer lights to light the set. A very slow shutter speed will actually allow you to produce animation during the exposure. One of the best examples of that is painting with light. In order to paint with light, you need a small point source of light and a very slow shutter speed. Automatic exposure does the best it can, but often it doesn't give us the results that we want. In this example, you will notice that the face is completely washed out. So we need to set the exposure control to manual, and then we can darken the image to get the exposure value that we want. With a little bit of trial and error, this kind of camera is capable of providing you with fantastic image quality.